So among the required members of an IEP team, an individualized education program team that have to be there in order for the team to meet the legal definition of who's required to be there, is an individual who is qualified to interpret evaluation results. That's the upshot. The specific language is that an individual who can interpret the instructional implications of evaluation results must be at the IEP team meeting.
You know, Jen, that seems a little vague to me. Can you simplify it?
Yeah, I mean, basically what this provision says is that there has to be someone there who can interpret test results because, as you and I know, the evaluation results and the implications of them, which is the language of the statute, are pretty complex. There are so many different kinds of evaluations that are out there, different instruments, different tests that can be administered for kids. I couldn't possibly list them all. I don't even think there is an exhaustive list. There are so many, and new ones are developed all of the time.
I have a book about this thick with all of them.
Right? I mean, and even still, then there's a third edition and a fourth edition, and they keep changing. And so you have to have someone there who can actually interpret the results, because otherwise, when a question comes up as an example of, well, what did this evaluation tell us about this child's needs and how do we incorporate it into the IEP, nobody's going to know what it means. I mean, hopefully somebody there has some working knowledge, and the parents may as well, but these tests can be pretty complex, and reading the results isn't as easy as it sounds.
Right. So I suppose within the spirit of the way that is written, an occupational therapist could review the evaluation that a psychologist did. But I'm thinking you probably don't want the occupational therapist reviewing a psychological evaluation. So on the out chance that you've got somebody who's totally unrelated to the evaluation wanting to review the eval, should a parent not ask that the appropriate person be there to go over that evaluation?
They should, although as you and I both know, sometimes you don't know in advance that it's going to come up. But, you know, the way that it's written, it specifically actually says in the statute that this person who's the individual who can interpret the evaluation results, could be one of the other described people who's required to be there. So theoretically, if an occupational therapist is there, they could be the person. I would say I don't know that that's great practice to have an OT reviewing a psych eval, as an example, or a school psychologist reviewing a psychiatric evaluation, although I see those things happen all the time. I would say in terms of if you're, as a parent, claiming your school district isn't meeting their legal obligations to your child, whether or not that person was the duly constituted representative to interpret evaluation results, I'm not sure that is your winning argument per se, or it's not necessarily the most important piece. The question would be, and to me, what usually happens when the law isn't followed like that is that the result is a bad IEP. The result is that nobody really understood what the test results meant. In practical reality, therefore, nobody knew how to develop the IEP to address the concerns in the test results, and the result is an inappropriate IEP. So, you know, whether or not that person really met the definition, it's a pretty vague definition, as you say.
Right.
But whether or not that's your primary concern, probably not. I would say the best practical way to handle it is if you know you're going to be discussing a particular evaluation, you want to ask that person's at the meeting.
That sounds like a pretty good idea.